Let's get right into it. From the time we're young, we're all told the exact same thing. Buying a house is the absolute smartest financial move you can make. It's the ultimate goal, right? But what if I told you that for the genuinely wealthy, that deeply ingrained assumption is completely upside down? What if the house you live in is actually your biggest liability?
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to bust a massive myth. We are unpacking the secret cash flow strategies of the ultra-wealthy. We'll explore exactly why they often choose not to tie up all their cash in a personal residence and what they actually do instead to keep their wealth constantly multiplying.
Part 1. Why a home isn't a true investment. You see, when you put a massive down payment into a primary residence, you're locking up huge amounts of capital unproductively. It just sits there, completely trapped in the walls.
Think about it using a really simple financial test. The rule goes like this. A true asset puts money into your pocket every single month. Think of dividend stocks, profitable businesses, or rental properties. A liability, on the other hand, takes money out of your pocket. By this strict definition, the home you live in fails the asset test completely. It doesn't generate a single dime of income for you.
And it's not just sitting there neutral either. It is actively draining your cash. Just look at this number. $18,000. That is the average annual cost of home ownership in the U.S. right now. When you factor in the joyous surprises of maintenance, property taxes, insurance, and utilities, you're looking at $1,500 every single month flowing steadily out of your pocket, without a single dollar flowing back in. And here is the ultimate irony of traditional homeownership. Before it's your asset, it is the bank's asset. Look at the math on your mortgage, especially in those first few years. The vast majority of your monthly payment goes straight to interest. You are quite literally paying for the privilege of building the bank's wealth. For them, your mortgage is a fantastic income-generating asset. But for you, it's a massive, ongoing expense.
So, if the wealthy aren't sinking all their cash into home equity, where is that capital actually going? That brings us to part 2, what they do instead. Wealthy families heavily prefer assets that actively generate income. Take a look at this breakdown from UBS. 32% in equities, 17% in private equity, 11% in real estate. They deploy their capital into cash flow, rather than trapping it dead in the ground under their personal home. They often prefer renting or leveraging properties so they can keep their money working in businesses or the stock market.
But what happens when they actually do want to buy a luxury property, or they need a big chunk of cash? Instead of draining their bank accounts or selling off their profitable stocks, they use something called a Lombard loan. It's also known as a securities-backed line of credit. Basically, this is a low-cost credit line secured by their existing investment portfolio. It lets them draw the cash they need, but they don't have to sell a single share of their investments to get it. This is the sheer power of leverage. This strategy gives high-net-worth individuals the exact cash they need to rent or buy their lifestyle properties. But crucially, their original capital stays completely invested in the market. It continues to compound, it continues to grow, and it continues to pay dividends, entirely uninterrupted. This perfectly sets up a really sophisticated wealth management strategy. It's often called buy, borrow, die. Here's how it works. Step 1. You buy appreciating, income-generating assets. Step 2. You borrow against those assets entirely tax-free using those credit lines we just talked about. Selling assets triggers massive capital gains taxes, but borrowing does not. Step 3. You pass the assets to your heirs with what's called a step-up in basis that essentially resets the tax value and can wipe out capital gains taxes on a lifetime of growth entirely.
Let's move to part 3, the opportunity cost. We're going to look at a simple comparison showing what happens when you lock capital into a personal home versus keeping it invested. Imagine this real-world case study. You're buying a $1.5 million home. You need a 20% down payment, so that's $300,000. Our buyer has $150,000 in cash and $2 million invested in taxable stocks. The big puzzle here is, how should they actually fund that down payment?
Here is the exact trade-off over a 10-year period. The traditional route is to drain your cash and liquidate some of your stocks to cover the gap, but that triggers capital gains taxes and stops that stock money from growing. The wealthy strategy is to use a credit line for the entire $300,000. That skips the cash drain entirely and leaves all the stocks fully invested. Now, look at the total 10-year cost. The credit line actually costs more in interest. But wait, look at the net wealth at year 10.
Even though the credit line strategy had higher out-of-pocket interest costs, keeping that original capital invested in the market absolutely crushes the traditional down payment method. By not selling their stocks and just letting that portfolio compound over a decade, the buyer ends up $880,000 wealthier, almost $1 million. That is the true hidden opportunity cost of locking your cash inside a house.
If you're finding this valuable, please subscribe to Wealth Lab and share this video with your friends and family. It really helps us grow.
All right, part 4. What this means for you. Because you don't need a massive family office or millions in private equity to apply these exact same principles to your own life.
Now, this doesn't mean you should never buy a home. Buying a personal home provides family stability, a sense of security, and deep emotional satisfaction. And honestly, those are completely valid reasons. But you absolutely must acknowledge the real mathematical trade-off. Your primary residence is a lifestyle choice, not an investment. The secret is simply understanding this reality before you decide to drain your liquid wealth to buy one.
So the crucial takeaway here is this golden rule. Let your assets pay for your liabilities. True wealth is not built by pouring every spare dollar you have into paying off your primary mortgage. It is built by acquiring true assets, businesses, dividend stocks, or rental properties that generate real cash. You want to build an engine of cash-flowing assets that produces enough income to eventually pay for your lifestyle choices. And yes, that includes the house you live in.
This mindset shift is exactly what separates the middle class from the wealthy. So the ultimate question you need to ask yourself is this: is your portfolio working hard enough to buy your next house for you? Thank you for joining us today. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to Wealth Lab. We'll see you in the next one.